So welcome everybody to the third map between the Russian Circus and Team XD. Now we couldn't cast map number 1 and map number 2 since we were in another series. We casted Team Liquid, who were just defeated by the Jabronis, and they are now out of the qualifier. The Jabronis are waiting in the next round of the tournament, the semi-final, which is also going to be the last match in that part of the bracket. But the Russian Circus is going up on a third map against Team XD, and both these teams are therefore still in the quarter-final. Whoever wins now on Tomb of the Spider Queen makes it to the semis, where they have a shot of participating in the league in 2017. The Russian Circus, they were in the second qualifier already in the semi-final, and they had a 2-0 lead in the best of 5 against B Genius. But B Genius, they turned around, they won 3 maps in a row and qualified, which forced the Russian Circus to play again in qualifier number 3. They switched out a player as well. Mopsio not playing the frontline anymore for them. He's now part of the Jabronis. So if the Russian Circus actually makes it through this match, it's going to be a bit of a grudge battle between the two. Right now at the front line, we have Gloomhammer for them, and of course Hydra. Power of Dreams and Hydra. They are playing at the front line for the Russian Circus now. And yeah, I'm once again with Tetcher as we are heading into this draft where we already have a ban on Jaina. This is intense.
Yeah, Heku getting banned out there for those who haven't seen her stream. Very good Jaina cosplayer, so seeing her banned out here, very sad. But ETC banned out for XD, a bit more standard there, trying to deny some of that classic Russian Circus aggression. And a Malfurion pick for the Russian Circus, which means XD stealing away the Valor to prevent that cooldown reduction. So Russian Circus, if they really want that cooldown reduction, then they do still have Li Ming and a couple other heroes who will benefit from that.
Yeah, and we have a... okay, Gul'dan. So, Russian Circus is an extremely aggressive team. We've been talking a little bit about Varian, who is allowed. We saw him banned out once, and he's still a hero that you can ban. Now, we haven't followed the first and the second map, but the ban on Jaina already indicates that we might have seen on the side of Team XD a bit of a burst-focused lineup in previous maps, which could really trigger this ban. Also, it seems like Morales being banned out here is a bit of a target ban against what XD did in the previous games. Of course, we are just making assumptions here since we weren't really part of those. But at this point, let's see how exactly it's going to work out for Russian Circus and XD. We have a Tiger's ban, which is of course very solid here, but let's see what XD is actually choosing as their next 2 heroes. We still need them with a healer, and a bit more damage would probably help them too.
Yeah, and picking the healer now. They don't really have to, but we have seen teams leaving their healer pick till last. But as we mentioned before, it's basically a choice between you have viability on your healer. If you pick it last, you can react to what the enemy team picks, or you can pick it now and leave yourself open for your last pick, which is exactly what XD do. Picking up that Li Ming we already mentioned, denying it away from the Russian Circus, denying them more combo with that Malfurion, and of course, she's still one of the best assassins, and Ariel combos very well with that Li Ming and that Valor, so works pretty perfectly for them. They're not losing out on anything here, and they still have versatility for their last pick in terms of what melee they want.
It's a great setup for Ariel. I mean, she has 2 targets for her trade now. We have Wave Clear on the side of Team XD with Johanna, with also Vala. Once that we have Calamity on Li Ming, she can pretty easily take a wave down as well, as long as she's aware that nobody is going to jump her when she uses the teleport. We have the Russian Circus going for the Thrall at the bot lane. Strong hero. It's also one of the heroes that we see the Russian teams use a lot. And we kind of know their game plan at this point already. I mean, we have good single target damage with Falstad. We still have to see if he goes into the Mage stat build or if he's willing to stack on the auto attacks, which would give him a bit more of a power spike towards the mid stage, the later stage of the game. Whereas with his Boomerang, of course, he can from the get-go capitalize on any kind of stuns and lockdown. Especially with an Earthquake, there's a huge amount of plays that they can make here. Bot lane is going to be safe. XD, they kind of need a bot lane. They don't have one just yet. They have good rotations. They have good wave clear. They could add into an Alarak. A Chen is still available. The Lorik has been played in this position quite a bit. But they go for the Arthurs. So that definitely is going to be interesting to see how they lane. They could have Arthurs have him as part of the rotation. They could have him as the solo laner, which is at this point very likely. But Arthur's being played by XD right now, and this is going to be brutal, guys. Again, this is the last map for the 2 teams here. So let's jump in and find out which one of these 2 teams is going to be dropped out of the qualifier and which one moves onwards to face Jabronis in the semifinal. The game is on, ladies and gentlemen. We have Tomb of the Spider Queen, and we have the last map. As mentioned before, it's the first map in this series that we can cover since we were in the match between Team Liquid and the Jabronis. The Jabronis are waiting to see which one of these two teams is going to make it towards the semi-final, since it's going to be their next opponent. We have to the left side, first of all, Team XD on Wolves with Liming, Zadoon with Johanna, Blikitny on Vala, Potibos on the Arthas, and Juf is playing Oriel. To the right side, it's the Russian Circus, though. Thrall for the bot lane, played by Hydra. Sevka on Malfurion. We have Power of Dreams on Murden. Neon on Gul'dan. And Sir Ice Cream is playing the Falstad in this game. This is the map that really matters. The score is tight. It is a best-of-3 series. Whoever team wins on Tomb of the Spider Queen, a very snowbally map at times, will make it into the semis.
So we're starting off at a level 1 with the Seasoned Marksman on Falstad. This is easily the best map for it, and to counter that we have the Reinforce and the block for Johanna and Arthas respectively. Good route by Arthas straight away, doing some great harassment to Muradin. So Ice Cream though already healed up by Sevka. And of course we did start with a little bit of a minion block, which did have give Gul'dan time to seriously harass that middle tower.
Now, of course, we've been talking about it since the last patch quite excessively, but in case that you tuned in without being familiar, oh ho ho! Zadoon goes down on Johanna, and that drops a couple of Seasoned Marksman stacks in the Falstad, which I just wanted to talk about. The last patch removed the cap on the talent, so you might not be quite familiar with the change yet, but it means once you reach the 40 stacks, you still complete the quest talent, but you will keep continuing to stack damage on the talent, meaning the longer the game lasts, the more pressure you can apply, especially to the front line of your opponent. It's going to be an immense amount of auto attack damage, but it also means that you miss out on the burst early on in the game that you usually get when you go for the Gathering Storm instead and play more of a mage Falstad.
Yeah, so like you said, it's very much an investment in this game, and this is a map where you see the games lasting a little bit longer, so it works out pretty good. We're going to be seeing Muradin play very aggressive, similar to how Mopsy was playing on HGC in the last series that we watched, but with the Muradins as he's able to tank through a lot of the damage thanks to the fact that he also took the block on level 1 as well. So 4 different block talents in this game if you include Reinforce.
And also, I mean, we've talked about talents. We talked about Seasoned Marksman a little bit. The block that you're pointing out is, of course, great against Falstad's auto attack in particular, but also against the Thrall. We have also Gul'dan, of course, with the stacking process. So 2 of the damage dealers that we have on the side of the Russian Circus are very reliant on their stacking process, and right now there's 10 stacks for Gul'dan. So the Russian Circus is probably going to be willing to, in the early game, at least play a little bit more passive than usual. I mean, they're pretty far out right now, but overall they shouldn't be afraid of just moving back in a team fight and waiting for a bit of a later chance. They have to be very careful though, since as we mentioned, it can be a very snowbally map. So let's see how that's going to work out. But XD, they are currently looking at that Arthas. They have punishment also taken on the side of Vala. The Laws of Hope for Johanna are going to give her a bit of additional sustain. And Liming herself went into the dominance for the sustain through takedowns during these big fights.
Yeah, but for now, she's not getting any of those resets for the moment as she is taken out. Thanks to just the incredible amount of CC that we are seeing from the side of the Russian Circus, once again showing off their aggression. And in the bot lane, we see the classic duel just continuing it to go in the favour of Hydra for now. Poti will sustain through this and that, allowed him to stay in lane and get XP, which is where Arthas can get value here. He's not going to win and push the lane against Thrall, but he's not going to lose it so hard that you don't have a chance to come back.
And Tetcher, look at the level 4 talent on Thrall. In typical Russian Circus fashion, they go for the aggressive choice. Chain Lightning, what's that? No poke talents here on their part, they go for the Envenom instead.
Yeah, the block will give him some protection against that Vala and against the Arthas a bit here as well. And the Envenom, like you said, full Russian style, getting that extra burst so they can head in where Falstad loses it for not going for the mage build. Thrall takes it up instead. And speaking of Falstad, he of course did continue down his auto attack style with the hammer gains and is already over a quarter of the way stacked at the 4-minute mark.
Yeah, they are doing really well on their stack heroes, and this is a bit of a problem for Team XD. They're supposed to I mean, not outright win the early game, but they're at least supposed to make a couple of plays, whereas we see Falstad still being rather low on that stacking process. He can't really pressure the front line as much as he later on will. So right now they not only are down 2 kills, but the level 7 talent drops faster into the hands of the Russian Circus. They're looking quite strong here. And we have a hybrid build for Falstad. They're going for a kill again, and that works well for Sir Ice Cream as he barrel rolls away after taking down Vala. They're going for Potibos. Nice body blocks here. Great jump by Power of Dream. It's a double kill. So Ice Cream barely survives, but he survives. We are seeing him here with a boomerang, so he has still a wave clear, and we have him already on 16 extra damage very early in this game, going up to 17 as the Red Weavers are descending.
Yeah, the boomerang is that little bit of extra burst and, like you said, also a little bit of wave clear, which allows him to stack the season marksman even quicker. But you can see him not using it now because he wanted to get all his health back and because he didn't really need to. Now he's going to do it because he is at full health and will have time to get mana if he needs it and has already restored a bit via the passive regen. So just being very careful about when to use his abilities, not burning them, not putting himself in a position where he could be in danger. Roll, on the other hand, gets cleansed, but not enough. Getting picked off. Power Dream may go down as well. He's getting chased by Ponzi, getting slowed. Sevka also getting focused, and that's 3 kills going over to XD.
Yeah, and Power of Dream way too aggressive here in this particular instance. He went in and was trying to get a counter kill, which he did not succeed in doing and died for it in the end. So it's 3 kills against him. And all of a sudden, with the big bang, we're seeing Team XD showing signs of life and saying, hey, we're still in this. That is more or less negating the effect of the Web Weaver wave, and it's closing the gap in experience. That was a massive blow against the Russian Circus. A huge problem here for them. Too aggressive, losing 3 heroes. That can backfire very fast. Was exactly what XD needed.
Yeah, they're looking super, super good right now, bringing themselves back into this game after Russian Circus showed a huge amount of dominance in the early game. But XD showing why they've got this far and why they intend to go further. Good harassment onto Hydra as well, forcing him back, and now he's in a bit of trouble in this lane. We're seeing what the lack of sustain that his non-lightning build is actually giving him here. He's still good, he's still getting a good amount of sustain, but he does need to attack from range at least to start off.
I just want to mention real quickly that we have Khaldor already on 30 stacks. So we are 6 minutes and 40 seconds in, and he has 30 stacks on his corruption talent. That is massive. So he's doing very well on it. The level 10 ability that they have now is also, of course, absolutely amazing, grabbing it this early and maybe getting another turn in on the back of it. They don't have the amount of gems just yet, but 1-2 more waves and they will have the correct number here. And up to the level 10 for XD, they can't really contest this either. So this is really an opportunity again for the Russian Circus. They are still ahead, even though they just lost those 3 heroes.
Yeah, they are a little bit ahead, so they were able to get their turn-ins right now, which will get them a Web Weaver, but it wasn't too far behind for XD, so they're going to have that level 10 support the defense, so they're going to be ready to fight if they need to. And we are seeing the Syndragosa coming in for Arthas and the Strafe for Vala.
Yeah, that's a pretty big engagement tool here, and a lot of slows, of course, that Vala could capitalize on later on. But for now, actually, let's see how this is going to work out with the Web Weavers. No fight force just yet. 23 auto attack damage on Falstad with the stacking process. Khaldor is closing in on the 40. He's at 35 right now as the mid lane is getting pushed. Hydra waiting for the potential Earthquake, and here comes Syndragosa.
Syndragosa from below, chasing down Hydra. Hydra already escaped, and with the Gust, they've zoned out a lot of that backline. Only Brakitni able to do any kind of damage, but as such, Sir Ice Cream saving his team there, but the middle Web Weaver is cleared up. We'll immediately, though, see Russian Circus rotate up to the top lane to assist that one.
The Earthquake cooldown is back ready. When Syndragosa got used, he was still on 5 seconds. But right now they can go for the team fight and they're moving in. Thrall, he's there, not using it just yet. The silence could be used. Yes, the Earthquake, the silence right afterward is interrupted. Actually, it's a double kill against the Russian Circus as Malfurion goes down and Khaldor. But they lose Arthas. The top fort still eliminated. And that was a split-second move. Malfurion was trying to go for the ult, but it gets interrupted. If that ult goes through, that would be a disaster for XD. So that was very clutch.
Yeah, especially seeing as Li Ming had just blinked in after getting a reset. So like you said, super clutch, killing off that Malfurion as quick as they did. Otherwise, that could have turned completely the other way. But even with those 2 kills, Russian Circus do guarantee all 3 forts. With that turn-in, they were able to just get an immense amount of pushing despite losing that fight.
Now, one of the issues that still exists for the Russian Circus is that XD has a huge opportunity of starting a comeback thanks to the amount of gems that they still hold. They have turned in 31, so they more or less have a double turn-in available to them right now if they don't lose additional heroes, and that could more than only bring them back into the game. They could take a lead here. The talents are the same, Web Weavers are descending, but it's likely that the Russian Circus is going to pick up the level 13 talent for the defense. And as long as they play their cards right, they should be able to defend this, but let's see how much of an impact this is going to have for XD. They need to start to snowball a bit, take down structure so that they close the gap in experience and at least grab the next talent themselves.
Yeah, let's see how efficiently they can do it. Remember, they do have Syndragosa on Arthas. It's back off cooldown, so if they can push up, then they can disable the structures and get some good value out of it. Arthas coming up to join his team right now. The Web Weaver, though, already down to half health thanks to the harassment from Sir Ice Cream, using that boomerang to good value here. Sevka with his Moonburn, and of course, Neon on that cooldown, who is fully stacked.
Cooldown reduction on the side of Falstad, not going Giant Killer. A bit of an odd choice here still, but he wants to have the poke over the extra damage with the auto attack, so he's going to have from a safe distance in the back the opportunity to spam out his hammering a little bit more often, which can, especially in a defensive position, be helping him a lot more than getting the extra AA damage in. We are seeing him at the bot lane, defending right now, can always fly to the top again, bursting another wave down as both of the teams have level 13 talents. And XD didn't get a lot of value out of the turn-in. They're still a little behind, but they have a second one available if they can get it through.
Yeah, full level behind, in fact. So, like I said, they have to get that turn-in, really, to continue to snowball this comeback that they're trying to attempt here. With that level 13s, they have the Trail of Frost on Arthas, so they want to try and catch as many heroes as possible with that CC, and the Repellent Strike for the Ariel here. So trying to get that big knockback into many of the walls. There's so many walls on this map that it's quite easy to hit a lot of those shots with Ariel. This just guarantees that you're probably going to hit them into something.
I'm not 100% certain what exactly the Russian Circus is currently doing there. I mean, they know that there's enough... like, what were they waiting for? It looked for a moment like they're trying to set a trap around the boss, which never was really attacked. And why would it be? Because I mean, they let this Web Weaver wave just being summoned, so they were totally okay with letting it through.
Here comes Syndragosa. They want to try and catch it. They get 4 heroes here. Falstad is so far away. They get the route onto the Muradin, but he's able to get out of there back to the Claims. Good ice block by Sevka, and Russian Circus pulling back with no trouble at all.
Yeah, pull back for now. They were willing to let the Web Weavers through. They're just saying, okay, we can defend this. So they were not looking for a fight here. Maybe a bit afraid of losing the battle and then having Web Weavers pushing against them while the Death Timers are still on the board. So they're defending for now. We have already Falstad at the bot lane. Top is not going to be a big concern for them just now since it's still very far away. They're an entire level ahead, which is good for them. They can poke with Neon. He completed his stacks a long time ago. And Falstad, by the way, is very close to completing his own quest talent. He's on 36 extra damage, so another 4. And he will have the extra auto attack speed. Needs to be careful at that bot lane, but the defense is really strong for the Russian Circus. They're even trying to go for Johanna here, who has to activate the Iron Skin. Falstad just completely ignoring everything in the mid lane and is saying like, boys, you do your thing, I got top lane.
Yeah, he's able to clear that up with no trouble at all. So once again, Russian Circus with stellar defenses here, keeping this advantage they have. When their turn is, we're able to take down all 3 forts. We're seeing XD able to take down 0. However, they start the boss. Zidune able to scout it out though with a great condemn into the root. A good ice block and the fear being dropped very early here. And the silence being turned onto Johanna and Arthas. Arthas killing Aegis, but he may still fall.
Arthas is about to die. Is he getting away? No, so Ice Cream confirms the kill. They're trying to go for a second one. And we have to talk about what just happened. First of all, the decision to go for boss was atrocious. That was horrible. Setting up a trap is absolutely fine, but you're already about to be a talent down and you just make a huge and risky play here. So if you set up a trap, that's fine. But then the Russian Circus, they sniff it out, and what do? They run into the bush with 3 heroes clustered up. That could have been a potential disaster, and it nearly turned against them. It was really just that Gust that's on a Horrify that saved them in the end. Now they make the play for boss with a level 16, and they can easily win this, or they should win this one. Now they're going in, but Falstad is a bit isolated. Barrel rolls away. The fight is still happening, so Ice Cream is extremely low. They're going for the fight, and it looks once again like Ming might actually be the deciding factor. Malfurion is dead already. Gust is used into the Earthquake. Syndragosa comes in as Arthas rejoins the battle, but he's extremely late, so Ice Cream with kill after kill after kill. The boss has been taken. Falstad is down. Aegis saving Oriel, and Power of Dream has 80 gems now. He's a rich kid with a lot of bling bling as he picked up everything that his teammates dropped.
Ariel just killed Falstad. That was very cool to see with that sweep. But the boss did go over to the Russian Circus. Johanna only able to tank for so long. Now we see the very sad sight of Ariel attempting to solo defend a boss and do everything she can. She got 34 gems, being the almost sole survivor for her team during that fight, other than Arthas, who arrived a bit too late. But Muradin, we're seeing him head to the turn, and he's like, well, got nothing else to do. He's going to finally get rid of those and get his team another set of web weavers.
This game turned full clown fiesta in that last fight. I still can't believe that XD went for the boss in the first place. Set up the trap by all means. Yeah, I agree. You should try and do that if you want to force the battle before 16, but then actually fighting for it and like 3 heroes of the Russian Circus running into that bush, you know there's a potential trap. Why would you do that? With the damage dealers at the front by of all the things. I mean, it still worked out, but it's 9 kills versus 9 kills. The advantage goes again to the Russian Circus with the push, but there's a wraparound attempt as they move in. Thrall is there, Earthquake on the ground, that helps him to survive. Your Hydra is still extremely low, but they're going in, and Wolves is about to die.
Good Aegis keeping him alive. He's deleted by Sir Ice Cream, but the corruption poison though, which does take him down. Blakitny now being chased by Power of Dream, who is murdering the backline, and they're able to grab 3 kills for that. That wraparound did not go to plan.
It looked for a moment like they could maybe kill Thrall and then start a 5 versus 4 battle, but that didn't really help. Now they're moving just from one keep to another. They want to go core here. They go to the keep at the top lane, try to blow it away as fast as they can. Falstad is of course still stacking the damage, and they're ignoring everybody. They know that Juf and Zadoon just don't have the damage to deal with them, so they just simply go for the core straight away. This looks very much like the Russian Circus is going to make it to the semis, and yes indeed they will. They drop the core. GG, well played. XD is out. The Circus goes to the semifinals and will face the Jabronis.